Dynamics simulations for all. So this paper is intended as an overview of molecular dynamics, or MD. The authors discuss its developments, what it's currently used for, where it is lacking, and how it should improve going forward. So MD, in the context of molecular systems like proteins, refers to computer simulations that predict how every single atom in a protein is going to move over time. These predictions are informed by interatomic forces, which are coded in by a force field. And these forces predict atomic motion over time simply by using Newton's laws of motion fundamentally. These forces are constantly updated as the simulation goes on, and the atomic trajectories or motion paths are updated as well. Over time, the bulk of molecular dynamics research has focused on improving these force fields. When the first molecular dynamics simulation of a protein was done in 1977, the first force field was based on very basic Coulombic interactions between the residues. They've been improved considerably over time to include quantum mechanical calculations and even very complex interactions like dispersion forces. These have made them considerably more accurate. However, since a typical time scale for molecular dynamics, or an individual step in the process, is on the order of only femtoseconds, that's 10 to the minus 15, it would take days to model a trajectory of even 1 nanosecond. So thus, biologically relevant events like ligand binding, which are on the order of microseconds sometimes, would take literally forever. Advances in hardware have partially addressed this by, for example, GPUs are now used, which enable parallel threading and expedite MD simulation significantly. However, very complex molecular motions like protein conformational changes are still inaccessible for structural biologists at full atomic resolution, even with the latest clusters and GPUs. It simply takes too long. So where does this leave molecular dynamics now? Well, research since the mid-2000s to the present day is focused on what's called enhanced sampling, or basically simplifying the details that go into the simulation so there's less processing to be done. This is often very strategic. For instance, researchers that want to bind a ligand will often completely omit the domains of the protein that are not close to the binding site if the binding site is known. They will also use implicit waters and implicit membranes. Instead of actually including the atoms of the waters and the membranes in the model, they'll basically incorporate them into the force field instead. And they also use centroids, which instead of looking at individual atoms, they average across several atoms to create like a much larger average atom, if you will, and thus have less atoms in the protein model. So therefore, all these techniques result in computers having less to process, and they can finish more quickly. They give other examples of how you can speed up existing MD calculations, but they caution that using these non-strategically, which they say many researchers do, can significantly impair your accuracy. They conclude that they emphasize that further validation must be done to quantify exactly how much the different enhanced sampling methods reduce the accuracy, so researchers are better informed in their approaches going forward.